You made it. How about that?
Yeah.
She was so
Pulled out?
No, shot herself in the foot during the presentation. She was terrible, and everyone was very skeptical, so that was different.
So she'd had every cold.
That was the great unknown.
Yeah.
It was 3 days.
Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. We will call this meeting to order. This is the November 18th, 2025 regular meeting of the Township Board of the Charter Township of Meridian. First on our agenda this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance. Will all those who are able please rise and join us for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we continue this evening, I'd ask for a brief moment of silence in memory of Tom Klunzinger, former township trustee who was elected twice to this body, who passed away last week. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is item 3, a roll call. Will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Supervisor Hendrickson.
Here.
Clerk Demas here. Treasurer Burkhart. Trustee Lentz.
Here.
Trustee Sunland.
Here.
Trustee Trezise.
Here.
Trustee Wilson. Here. 6 board members present.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is item 4, presentations. We have none. Item 5, citizens address agenda items and non-agenda items. There are several opportunities for public comment at tonight's meeting. Members of the public who wish to address our agenda or any item not on our agenda we have an opportunity to do so at the beginning of the meeting as well as at the end of the meeting. Those who wish to address the board must complete a green card. Thank you very much. And located on the table near the door, and present the card to the board or member of the township staff, and we'll be happy to make sure you get your time. When it's your turn, I'll call you up to the podium to speak to the topics indicated. While it's not required, we do ask that you provide your name and address for the sake of our meeting minutes at the beginning of your remarks. Citizens are required to limit comments to 3 minutes. An automated system will keep track of the time, and an audible beep will alert you when your time has expired. Members of the board value comment from the public. Our meeting format and rules, however, do restrict board members from engaging in conversation with commenters or answering questions directly. Questions and concerns may be addressed by board members at a later time, or may be referred to a member of the township staff to follow up on. Please make sure to address all comments to the board or the board's chair and not to individual board members or others in the audience. First this evening, we have Brad Shaw, and then David Batten is on deck.
Thank you. Brad Shaw, 4504 Dobie Road. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy to rezone a church driveway as high-density residential. You did it behind doors, behind closed doors, and I understand that. How else could you get that done? If we look at the whole picture, the history kind of gets erased in the staff reports. But we started out with an invitation of the whole township to a master plan meeting. You allowed it to morph into a zoning meeting. You knew you had angry people in the neighborhood, and you ignored that. So that excuse was made, but no one really bought it. Secondly, you had lot 003, which was a combination of lot 001 and 002. That combination was done by an administration act. That administration act came as a surprise to the Planning Commission, okay? And as someone who's been at all the planning commissions and all the board meetings, that's significant that that happened. And the excuses have followed from that. We have the excuse at the Planning Commission that formulating an intent is as good as doing something. That same excuse was repeated by the same person at the board level, that formulating an intent was as good as doing something. So going forward, we have a continuing process here to go forward. And what I'm asking is, you've done a horrible job of public participation on this project. And you can do better with the rest of it, right? You can add public participation or reviewing the site plan. You have to come back with a plan for the church. We're going to be back again with the history so that you understand, we know how you achieved rezoning a church driveway as high-density residential, and that's going to be continuing to be a problem for you, and we will be here to help you through that. And I'll just finish by saying I live at 4504 Dobie Road. Ingham County has visited me twice on this project. No one from the township has left this building to come to my property or anything near my property. I'm available for coffee. Let's sit down. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave Batten? And then there are no other green cards. If anyone else wishes to speak at public comment, now would be the time to fill out a green card.
Good evening, Dave Batten, 1064 Woodside Drive in Hazlet. I'm one of 5 co-chairs of the Meridian Township Farmers Market Gleaning Project, obviously. So my cohorts, the other members, are Sue Zyra, Tom Zyra, Mary Fielding, and Kevin Kavanaugh. But really, it's our group of 20-plus stalwart citizen volunteers and 24+ vendors and farmers who are the key in this charitable activity. 2025 is the 4th year of our operation at the market, collecting food donations from vendors, farmers, and the increasing number of community participants. This season, we totaled food donations of 10,608 pounds, over 5 tons. The food was distributed to 7 different agencies providing food to those in need in our larger community. Hazlet Community Church Pantry, Williamston Food Bank, First Presbyterian Church Pantry, Edgewood Village Housing Nonprofit, Southside Community Kitchen, St. John Church Food Cupboard, and Cristo Rey Community Center. The gleaning table and home garden donations from the public each increased by 500 pounds from the previous year from shoppers and gardeners. Thanks partly to the police chief and the fire chief who came in gleaning table and helped us collect donations. Thank you to the Greater Lansing Food Bank Garden Project for the 1,000 seed packets they provided us at the Gleaning Project to distribute to community members interested in gardening, obviously with the interest that any excess might come back to the market, which it did. And we have a member here a citizen who was one of our donors from his home garden. It's terrific. So we also want to thank Schuler Books for providing the necessary cardboard boxes we need every week, and they've done it for the last 3 years. Thank you to the market manager, Tom Carey, assistant manager, Mel Miles, and Courtney Wyszynski, Township Parks and Recreation Director, for your assistance and support this season. Thank you to the Board of Trustees and the Environmental Commission members for your support of reducing food waste in our community and providing fresh produce and baked goods to those in need. Mostly, we're just here tonight to declare our appreciation of what has become an impressive activity of shared generosity and community spirit at the market. Looking forward to seeing you again in May. It's also a good time to volunteer. And thank you all.
Thank you very much. Any other members of the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, public comment is closed at 6:08 p.m. Next on our agenda is the Township Manager Report. Manager Dempsey.
Yes, thank you, Supervisor, and good evening, board members. Just a few things this evening. So we'll have the summary from last week's listening session that was held on Thursday evening available next week. So we'll have that online on the Township Board's webpage like we do all the prior summaries. So our residents can look at that summary and see the things that were discussed and responded to, as well as, again, go to prior ones if they want to look at that history. On your consent agenda this evening, as you know, is the public hearing setting for December 2nd for the Continental Authentics Project along Central Park Drive. I just wanted to make the point that while this is not a statutory requirement for it, given the high level of public input, we obviously thought that was important to have an official public hearing for that. So much more information, of course, will be forthcoming prior to your meeting on December 2nd from the planning department. So, and just a thanks to Principal Planner Shorkey and Director Schmidt for compiling quite a bit of information. You'll see, I'm sure some of you have already seen a lot of it in the Planning Commission. There's quite voluminous record there because it is a complicated project. And then the last thing is just a reminder with the holiday week coming up next week, Thanksgiving, township offices will be closed on Thursday of Thanksgiving and then the Friday following. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of our staff for all the hard work that they do. I'm very grateful and appreciative that we have such a hardworking team, our 170 some full-time and part-time regular staff, plus many, many more seasonal staff that we use throughout the year. So thanks to all of them for all of their hard work and things they do for us. With that, that completes unless there's any questions.
Board members, any questions? I'm seeing none. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is board member reports of activities and announcements. Any board members with reports this evening? Clerk Demas.
I just wanted to announce that it's been nearly a year since I took office as clerk here in Meridian Township. And in that time, my office has conducted a successful audit of the November 2024 election. And we even held a special election back in August. I've also been able to receive a lot of helpful training, and I'm excited to keep learning and growing in this role. And I just want to say it's truly been an honor to serve our community on the board here, and I'm looking forward to keep working together.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Other board members? Yes, Trustee Wilson.
I'd just like to congratulate Dave Batten and his team on the gleaning program. I've been a participant as a volunteer for First Presbyterian Church since the beginning, and it's a well-designed program. It's seamless. It doesn't cost anything. And every Monday morning, there's about 70 pounds of vegetables for me to pick up during the season and take down to my food pantry. So I'm grateful for the opportunity, and yes, let's do more.
Thank you very much. Other board members? Well, on behalf of the board, I'll just say thank you to the over 50 residents that came to the listening session on Thursday of last week. This is our third and final listening session for 2025. We got a lot of interesting questions on a wide variety of topics. And I know that we are able to take some of the feedback that we get from those meetings and turn that into board action that we're able to take to directly, help folks out that have questions or issues that need resolving. And it's been really a privilege to get to come and talk to a number of folks who come out to those. And I know it's something that we all value. And that's why we continue to include these kind of sessions in our annual goals. And we look forward to doing even more of those next year. So dates to come in the future, but we appreciate everyone who took the time to come out and speak with us on Thursday. Next on our agenda is item 8, approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda this evening? Moved by Trustee Wilson. Does we have a second?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Lentz. Any discussion on the agenda? Okay, all those in favor of the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. We have a number of items on our consent agenda this evening, including communications with the Township Board, the minutes from our November 6th regular meeting, the bills, a acceptance of grant to assist firefighters with health and wellness, and the aforementioned public hearing for December 2nd, 2025 for the Continental Ide Land Holdings property consent judgment amendment. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda this evening? It's been moved by Trustee Trezise. Do we have a support? Supported by Trustee Sunland. Any discussion on the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, will Clerk Demas please call the roll?
Clerk Demas, yes. Trustee Lentz?
Yes.
Trustee Sunland?
Yes.
Trustee Trezise?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is item 10A, the 2025 Township Manager Performance Review. So at our last meeting, as you know, we took this matter up for discussion. for review. If any board members had interest in making amendments to any of the packet items regarding the manager's performance review. There were no amendments requested or changes to be made. And so this evening, it is here for us for action to approve the manager's performance review. And there's a suggested motion in the memorandum. Trustee Wilson.
I move to approve the 2025 Township Manager Performance Review as presented.
It's been moved by Trustee Wilson,
Support.
supported by Trustee Trezise. Discussion on this matter. Trustee Wilson.
Well, it was a sterling report for our new manager, who's now been with us close to a year and has really proven what a great manager that he is, both in terms of people and tasks. And we're very happy to have you here, Tim.
Trustee Trezise.
I would reiterate what Trustee Wilson said, and thank you for your service.
Okay. I see lots of nodding in agreement. Seeing no other commentary, all those in favor of the motion to approve the 2025 Township Manager Performance Review, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is item 10B, ordinance 2025-05, a franchise agreement with Lansing Board of Water and Light for final adoption. With us this evening, we have our Deputy Township Manager, Dan Opsimer.
Good evening, Supervisor Hendrickson and board members. So this evening before you for final adoption is the BWL franchise agreement. If approved by the board and accepted in writing by the BWL, this would replace our existing 1988 franchise agreement. Just a reminder that this came before the board in June for introduction. Since that time, we have made several clerical changes in agreement and with concurrence with the BWL. And tonight, we bring this back for final adoption. Just a couple of other highlights for the board. The BWL franchise territory or area encompasses about 7% of the township. The remaining 93% is covered by Consumers Energy. And as part of the franchise agreement, the BWL would have a 5% franchise fee. And we have worked diligently with the BWL and our attorneys to ensure that this franchise agreement complies with the recent Michigan Supreme Court decision in Hios versus East Lansing. And as a housekeeping matter, a notice of introduction was published in mid-October preceding this meeting. And our township attorneys are also here for any questions that the board may have.
Thank you very much. Board members, any discussion or motions to be made this evening? Trustee Sunland.
Okay, I picked up, reading through it, and I usually don't pick up on this, but there was an error on page 137 of this agreement. It's in the top or the middle of the page, and it says, I, Deborah Guthrie, clerk of the Charter Township of Meridian. And of course, Angela is the clerk, and she needs to sign it. And so there was that error in a couple places. So just, you could probably do a search, find all, and
So that error was present in June, on June 3rd, when we brought this before the board, and Supervisor Hendrickson pointed it out. And when we initially published your packet, the clean version of the ordinance was omitted. But your packet was updated on Monday to include the clean version that did have that correction.
okay,
That error is still present in the red line version of your packet because the red line version reflects the version that came before you on June 3rd.
okay. All right, thank you.
Good catch.
Absolutely, good catch.
Yes, Trustee
I had
Trezise.
a question about the indemnification, section 4. In one place, it refers to activities by the township and their employees or its contractors. Negligence by the township, its employees or contractors. That language is not included with regard to Board of Water and Light. And I'm wondering if that's covered in the language that's presented there. It doesn't say that specifically in the first couple of sentences. Negligent construction, operation, or maintenance of the grantee's facility activities directly related to operation. And I would like it to, if it does extend to contractors and employees, I'd like that to be a little clearer.
Thank you for your question. Tammy Sortovera from Fahey Schultz. And I can explain your question here. The case law here says that when you have an indemnification and safe harmless clause such as this, you cannot absolve yourself of liability for your own negligence and pass it on to somebody else. So while you can have a whole harmless clause and excuse the township for the negligence caused by the BWL, the township cannot be absolved of its liability for its own negligence or that of its contractors and employees. So this is just the other case law that's included in here.
Thank you. That
You're
answers my question.
And that was actually one of the final points of negotiation with the BWL. They tried to remove the indemnification clause entirely. So we were able to preserve it.
I'm glad you were able to preserve it.
That was part of the reason for the delay between June 3rd and this evening.
Good.
Other board members with questions or comments? Yes. Trustee Lentz.
Mine is to our clerk here. With the public notice that bears your name, did you have anyone contact your office with questions about this in publication?
No, they did not.
I didn't imagine so, but I didn't want to approve before maybe answering any of those issues. With that, considering my lack of legalese understanding, this seems to be all above board, and I plan to support it.
And if I was contacted, I would make sure the board was aware, but yeah,
Thank you.
we published it accordingly.
Thank you.
Other comments or motion to be made? Trustee Lentz.
I'll make the motion. I move to adopt a resolution approving ordinance number 2025-05, an ordinance to adopt the franchise agreement with the Lansing Board of Water and Light into the township's code of ordinances.
It's been moved by trustee Lentz. Do we have a second?
Support.
Supported by trustee Wilson. Any further discussion? I'll add my thanks to Deputy Manager Opsimer and our attorneys. It's been a long process, but a diligent one. And I appreciate all the hard work that went into this between those two, these three and others at the law firm, and our partners at BWL to make sure that we up-to-date and accurate franchise agreement that we can all be happy with. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Demas, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Lentz.
Yes.
Trustee Sunland.
Yes.
Trustee Trezise.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Supervisor Hendrickson.
Yes.
Clerk Demas, yes. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Next on our agenda is item 10C, read my packet well here. Appointment to apply to Ingham County to serve on the Ingham County Materials Management Planning Committee. Deputy Manager Opsimer is here to walk us through what that means, and then we'll talk about who is interested in serving in that capacity. Deputy Manager Opsimer.
Thank you, Supervisor Hendrickson and board members. And I just want to also extend my thanks to Chief Hamill and Chief Grillo on the BWL franchise agreement as well, because they also played a critical role in its development and some of the key financial documents that we developed to bolster it. So for the appointment to the Ingham County Materials Management Planning Committee, this came before you last month. Obviously, with Treasurer Deschain's retirement, we had to backfill his seats on various boards and commissions. This is one of those committees. Treasurer Deschain held the lone township official seat on the MMP, and so there will be a vacancy. The board does not need to act tonight. We're just bringing this back in case you do wish to make a decision tonight. When we spoke to the county in late October, they told us they would likely not make an appointment. Well, I should say accept applications to make an appointment until early January. So you do have your remaining 2 meetings in December before you would have to make a decision on this. Just as a reminder, the MMP does meet on Wednesdays, third Tuesday of every month at 3:30. So it is a daytime meeting. So this was all prompted through amendments to the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act. Basically, the act was modified or modernized so that we would have an emphasis countywide on recycling and composting versus waste management and filling landfills. So this was an effort undertaken by the legislature to put an impetus on all the counties to enhance opportunities to recycle. So key examples of that would be expanding recycling at multifamily developments, which has always been a barrier, expanding the types of products that can be recycled at existing facilities, and then expanding and adding new facilities like we've talked about doing. So as the largest township in the county, I thought it was important back when the MMP was first formed to bring this to the board so that we would have representation on it. And we're here tonight to talk about who might be appointed by the board to serve as our applicant so that we might have continued representation on this body. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you very much. Board members, you've had about a month to consider if you're interested in serving in this capacity. Do any of you have questions or are willing volunteers? Trustee Trezise.
I would volunteer.
Okay. All right. Anyone else interested?
Not currently. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you very much. Well, we certainly appreciate that. I concur with Deputy Manager Ofsmer's assessment. It would be great to continue to have representation
Oh, I agree.
on that committee. We have, certainly an interest in, continuing to further our environmental activities and recycling, chief among them. And this is one that's, could be very pivotal in continuing those efforts. So thank you for volunteering.
Although I don't have a full-time job.
You're back.
I'm back.
Okay, well then, we do have a motion in the packet, and we have seen this before. Trustee Wilson?
I move to appoint Peter Trezise to apply as Meridian Township's applicant to serve on the Ingham County Materials Management Planning Committee.
It's been moved by Trustee Wilson. Do we have a second? Seconded by Trustee Lentz. Any further discussion? Last chance to change your mind? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for your
You are our
service.
applicant.
Yes, thank you.
Not a done deal. You have to
I
actually
understand
put it
that.
in an application. All right, very good. Next on our agenda is item 11A for discussion, and that is going to be a discussion about the 54B District Court. And for this, we have Manager Dempsey.
Yeah, good evening again, board members, and thank you. So I had been approached by the city manager in East Lansing, Robert Belleman, regarding the township's potential interest in changing our district court affiliation. So we're currently affiliated with the 55th District Court in Mason, and East Lansing has its own district court, 54B District Court. The reasons behind that, I think, are varied, but essentially what I think it boils down to is they've seen a decline in overall court activity. I believe they have capacity, and we're trying to find ways to maybe utilize our court activity to supplement what they're doing currently. So obviously, I'm not the sort of primary person at the township that handles our court matters. So this evening, we have with us our prosecuting attorney, Colin Harkness, as well as Police Chief Grillo, to speak, and who can both comment quite a bit better than I can on the issues overall. But I think what you'll hear from them this evening is essentially there are a number of challenges that would be presented to us if we were to make such a change. And those challenges relative to any distinct advantages are probably pretty much leaning towards, a very difficult, it would be a very difficult, I think, recommendation from staff's perspective to switch it. But again, I think it's best to hear from them and get some perspective on that so we can have a discussion and sort of think through what some of those implications might be. So I'll invite both of them up to talk, and they can decide who wants to kick it off first. But I know they both have perspectives on this, so.
All right, I'm not sure if I won or lost rock, paper, scissors, but I'll go first.
Distinction without a difference.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting us up to speak about this today. Manager Dempsey approached me about this several weeks ago, and we had a discussion, like he said, about a lot of the challenges that would come, but I guess I'll start here. The system that we have is very good right now. 55th District Court has been excellent partners to us. The judges out there are very good partners to us. The staff out there is fantastic. The building that they have out there is brand new. It is state of the art. It is built specifically for the current population that we have. So, the old 55th District Court was small. It was hard for us to get people in the lobby. It was often standing room only. We don't have those challenges anymore at 55th. It's been a long time since I've been to 54B, so it's hard for me to, I guess, speak to the challenges of the building other than what I can see from the outside. But I can say that 55th District Court is extraordinarily convenient for us. It's a longer drive, but really that's the only downside that I can see with sticking with 55th. It's very secure. They have metal detectors when you first walked in. They have armed staff right up front that you have to go through screening with. Parking is ample out there. There's more than enough parking. There will be challenges, and I guess I'll let Colin speak to some of the parking challenges that would come with switching to 54B. We've made 534 arrests already this year. From talking to Sheriff Rigglesworth, he only accepts prisoners that are being lodged at Ingham County Jail, going through the 55th District Court. So all of our arrestees, if we did decide to make the switch, would have to go to East Lansing Jail. Now, I haven't spoke with Chief Brown about this matter at all, but it's my understanding that they have struggles with staffing their jail amply for the current amount of arrestees that they have. I would venture to say that we arrest as many, if not more people than East Lansing does, though I don't know that for sure. But doubling the caseload out there just with the jail would be a challenge for them, I imagine. And then when a prisoner is arraigned, they may make their way out to the Ingham County Jail, but whenever there's any type of a trial, they would have to come back. So we're arranging transportation to get a prisoner every single time there's any type of a trial from 55th down to 54B and then back at the conclusion of the trial would also be another challenge that we don't currently have to face right now. I also am unclear, I'm not sure if Madam Clerk can help with this, but do our residents get to vote for the judges at 54B?
No.
My
I'm not sure.
understanding, no,
No.
but
I think they would likely have to change the district boundaries so that whichever one we were in, we would vote for.
Yeah.
But that would, I guess, not to jump to the end of the page, but this would also require an act of the legislature to redraw those district boundaries, I believe as well. So this discussion that we have is more of a preliminary to us making a recommendation to our legislators, essentially. Is this something we're interested in doing or not? And so at that point, once that change happens, we would be voting for those judges. But
Okay.
at present, we vote for 55.
Okay, yeah, so I guess I will conclude, now I'll turn it over to Colin by saying that I don't, I guess, support this. Again, the system that we have works very, very well. I don't see any reason, I don't see any benefit to the citizens of Meridian Township, the Meridian Township Police Department, that would be beneficial to us making that switch right now.
So, I agree with Chief Grill on a lot of points. Usually when Manager Dempsey reaches out to me, I'm always really happy to hear from him. And when he told me about this, I don't want to say it was a reflexive no, but it was close. So, but my concerns are a lot of the same as the chief's in that the courthouse in Mason is brand new. We handle a lot of pretrials and a lot of cases on a weekly basis. There's a lot more room at the new courthouse in Mason. I've practiced at 54B in East Lansing. Every once in a while, I'll take a case over there. I mean, I don't want to disparage them, but it's a little bit of a dated courthouse. There's no security unless you're in the courtroom. There's no metal detectors. There's no armed staff on the ground floor.
There's, a couple benches outside the courtrooms, and there's a couple of conference rooms that the attorneys can use, but usually 2 out of the 3 are occupied by the city attorney and the county prosecutor, which doesn't leave a lot of room for us, for the defense attorneys, to meet with people. So that's number one. Whereas 55th, conference rooms all the way down the hallway, dedicated rooms for the public defender, dedicated rooms for the prosecutors. They planned that out pretty well. The other problem with 54B is it's metered parking, and it's very limited parking. I don't know if anybody's been out to the Justice Complex in Mason, but it's like a football field size parking lot. It's not metered at all, so it's very easy. I mean, the last time I went to 54B, it took me a while to find an open spot. So there's that. One significant problem for our office particularly is the scheduling and how the 2 courts do their scheduling very, very differently. And I don't know, and I don't want to bank on that they'd be willing to adjust that if we were to make the change. And when I say that, right now, all of our pretrial conferences and formal hearings and most of our jury selections are handled Mondays. Mondays are the dedicated ordinance days for all the municipalities in the outlying county, including Meridian. 54B, Tuesday, Thursday. And so it's a complete shift. And where that's difficult is our office has a very delicate balance right now because Meridian Township is one of our biggest clients, but we also represent municipalities in Eaton County, Calhoun County. They do it on different days. So if we were to shift, that's going to cause a little. We would have to really try to work through that. So it would really upset a very delicate balance in our office. Let's see. We have some really great relationships with the judges, with the staff. I've been doing this for the township for this year. This is the end of 15 years, and so we work really well with everybody out there. I don't want to. I'm sure we could work well with people at 54B, but I don't see a reason to change other than the proximity of the courthouse. And so, my preference would be if the board wants my opinion is I would strongly recommend staying at 55th. I think everything is working really well for us there. And I just see a lot of potential problems with making the change.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. This is something that, we're not required to do by any stretch. This is something that was merely asked of us if there would be an interest. I wonder, could you talk to us about, we've heard from your perspectives and the way that you interact with the court. Could you talk a little bit about what a resident's perspective how that might be impacted at 54B versus 55?
I think they're going to have a shorter drive when they have to go, whether you're talking about serving for jury duty or whether we're talking about bringing witnesses to court for purposes of trial or a formal hearing. But other than that, I don't know that there would be any change.
Yeah, to me, it would be less convenient simply because the facility isn't nearly as new or secure. There's a lot of comfort, I guess, I take it personally when I walk into a building like that. And I know that it's very secure because I've gone through metal detectors and I've been screened. And you're not going to get that necessarily out at 54B, as well as, the parking. Sure, it's a shorter drive, but there really aren't a whole lot of parking spots downtown East Lansing, so I'm going to have to pay to park in a ramp and still walk further through the elements potentially to get there. Whereas I'd much rather probably drive through those elements and have a shorter walk myself. And then again, the comfort once you're inside the building of just having space to, like Cullen said, meet with your attorney if that's the case. Or if you're just waiting to pay a ticket, it's just much more convenient out at 55th than it would be at 54B.
So I have been in the Justice Complex a couple of times through my day job down in Mason. And I agree, it's great facility, right? It is brand new, and I think what that comes with, in addition to being adjacent to the Ingham County Jail, is added security, as you pointed out. I think prisoner transport or inmate transport specifically is of interest and concern to me. It's a point of possible failure, right? At 55, we're taking folks directly from the jail in the same building to court. And so you minimize the risk of any possible shenanigans in that. It sounds like from what you're saying is that, they would be at the East Lansing jail if we were to make a change, unless they are overwhelmed, in which case they would then go down to the Ingham County Justice Complex. Is that how that would work?
So it's my understanding from talking to the sheriff, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Cullen, that our arrest, a fresh arrest, meaning that, you got arrested for drunk driving or whatever it is, would be taken to the East Lansing jail initially. And once they are arraigned or they post bond, they would be released. And then if there's a long-term sentence, that would be when they would go out to 55th potentially. But there still may be some transportation from 55th out to 54A, depending on the length of time somebody is being held. Does that make sense, Cullen?
It does. And, most of the people that we're transporting are in two categories. One, felons, and number two are what I would just call our recidivist offenders. I mean, we have, and I'll just, without using a name, refer to one individual who I know the chief is familiar with, who I've, over the last 18 months, had 15 cases for, who's very unpredictable. He's always very intoxicated. He's on what the jail refers to as post 3, which is you get put in a red jumpsuit because you're a dangerous individual. And the last time we had this individual at court and we're just talking about township misdemeanors, we're not talking about felonies for him, but he got so out of sorts, it took 7 deputies to get him from the secure area at 55th back to his cell. And so I take a little bit of comfort in knowing that, number one, we have that level of presence very close by, and then number two, the cell where they're going to put him is right there, as opposed to loading him into a van and carting him from East Lansing out to Mason. So I don't want to, give the board the impression that, that there's this huge safety concern, but it is a concern. And individuals like this particular one are a prime example of why it works so well, having the jail connected to the courthouse.
Board members, any questions? Yes, trustee Lenz.
Thank you. I was happy to hear how all of you seem to be on the same page that I was as reading through this in the first place, which is what brought this upon. So I guess curious, do we know what brought on the reduced caseload in 54B that even opened up this opportunity?
I think there's a variety of factors that probably go into it. Just given my experience with the city of East Lansing, I think a lot of it has to do with the changing nature of enforcement over time. I think it's, historically the court saw a lot of activity, frankly, from MSU students, and that things have changed just in terms of, again, how enforcement works. The student body has changed, right? There's been just a lot of societal shifts over time that I think have had broad impacts in the community in part. So I think those are just a few of the factors. I do want to correct one thing, though, for the record, because again, we love to partner with our other municipalities in the county where possible, and the court there did implement metal detectors recently. So that is a recent addition. They do have that. They outsource that. It's not done with sheriff's deputies. They do have a security firm that provides that service, but they at least have that now. So that is in place. I just wanted to correct that for the record.
And then my only other question to you, Mr. Harkness, is could it be considered an undue burden with this possibility available to ask people to go to a further courtroom to do their business with Meridian Township, or is it so minuscule that it's not notable enough to bring up?
If I recall when I did it on Google Maps, I think from Township Hall to 54B, it was roughly 4.5 miles, I think. And I think from here out to Mason, it's maybe 10 or 12. I mean, I can get there from my house in Cornell Woods, you know, in about, to Mason, about 15 minutes. So it's not like we're talking about some excessive drive or some excessive amount of time in the car. I think in this particular case, the slight added travel time burden is significantly outweighed by the other benefits by staying in Mason.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. For what it's worth, Judge Allen, I know him personally from client relationships for my day job and found him to be incredibly compassionate and proficient at his job, which I would say is our number one concern. And I would trust him to make any decision before the township board in a measured way. So I would be more interested in sticking with 55th.
Trustee Trezise.
I think the only question I have is on the processing time once a case starts. Does 55 have the handle these as quickly as 54B as a rule?
I haven't seen any issues from my perspective. To my understanding, they're fully staffed. All of our cases are handled expediently, so I haven't had any issues.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of difficult to answer because we don't know what'll happen once we more than double the caseload out at 54B by, taking all of our prosecutorial needs out there. So it's kind of challenging to answer that question. I don't know if that will completely overload their system. I can say it's very consistent out of 55th though.
Yeah, I guess the question more was, is it consistent and is it reasonably processed through 55 now? There's no reason to move from there to get a faster process that you're aware of.
No, I think everything is working like clockwork right now. I mean, and I was telling the chief before and obviously things fluctuate a little bit with the holidays, but I mean, typically every Monday, my office is dealing with right around 20 cases every single Monday. And so I don't know what would happen if that moved over to East Lansing, but what I do know is that 55th is handling it quite well, and we're not having any problems with their staff processing our files.
It's kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Trustee Wilson.
Aside from the excess capacity issue at 54B, is there a financial incentive to us going over there? Are there fees collected by the court that would then go into the coffers of East Lansing? Can you explain that? That would be helpful.
So if a case is prosecuted under an ordinance like we do in Meridian Township, the township collects 1/3 of the fines and costs. The other 2/3 are to the court, and then they get distributed from there. But we take our 1/3, and basically 2/3 are with the court, and so that revenue would shift from 55th to 54B.
But the township revenue wouldn't change.
The township
correct?
revenue would stay the same. We would still get our 1/3. It was just the 2/3 that go to the court would then shift from 55th to 54B.
Okay.
Trustee Sunland.
Yeah, and all I would want to say is, I know 54B is probably good court, but given the fact that Chief Grillo and Attorney Harkness are so strongly supporting keeping us at 55B,
55, yeah.
I would want to support 55B. Or not 55B,
55.
that's just 55.
Yeah.
And I would add, I know both of the judges very well at 54B. I've known Molly Greenwald since she was a prosecutor, and I knew Lisa Babcock when she was a defense attorney. And so I don't have anything bad to say about 54B. It's just for all of the reasons that we've discussed, I think it would it's in the township's best interest to stay at 55th.
Good, thank you. Trustee Wilson.
I see no compelling reason to make a change.
No.
You've made your case.
Clerk Demus?
I would agree with that. I don't really see a benefit from changing, and it seems like there is a benefit for the city of East Lansing, but for Meridian Township, I think we should just stay with what we have.
I see nodding heads. I think we've come to a more or less consensus. I don't think we need official action on this, right? If we're not going to make a change.
No, it was simply, they were seeking interest because as you had pointed out, Supervisor Hendrickson, this would require a legislative change, so I think they want to update their legislators on, and our legislators on that, so. And one other sort of historical note to point out, there was a proposed consolidation back in 2018-19 between 54B and 54A, which is the city of Lansing, and 55th, that ultimately, from political reasons and other factors, did not proceed. So just to keep that in the back of your mind, I think there's recognition that, yeah, there probably are more efficient ways in those other courts, but there's a lot of complexities with all of this.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming and providing us with that insight, and I think we've got our direction. All right, next on our agenda is item 11B, the Hagedorn Road land donation / acquisition. And Deputy Manager Officer is back again to talk to us about that.
Thank you, Supervisor Hendrickson and board members. So I'm just going to briefly walk you through the changes that have occurred since this was last before you. Just as a reminder, what we're discussing is the possible acquisition of portions of two parcels, I should say, on Hagedorn Road. See if I can get the correct map. There we go. So this is immediately south of Mount Hope Road and the CSX Railroad on the east side of Hagedorn Road. The two parcels in question is 4344 and this undeveloped parcel right here. At our last meeting, we talked about the parcel splits. Give me just one moment to get to the right page. So at the last meeting, we talked about the parcel split for the northern parcel being north to south right here. And since that meeting, the current property owner came back and requested a little bit more upland at the north end of that site, presumably for development purposes, just to have a little bit more upland for their pervious to impervious ratio. The land in question in here does have an existing drain easement, so it can't be used to be built on. They just want a little bit more upland, so we agreed to those terms, so long as the easement is amended accordingly, so that we would still have a contiguous trail route through the north end of this property to connect to the existing pathway, which is located right here where my cursor is. So this is the only change to the splits that have been proposed. The property owner did concur with our proposed split location here on the southern parcel. At this point, as long as the board is still agreeable to pursuing this, we would have the applicant or the property owner apply to do the splits and combinations of the parcels, at which point we could bring this back to the board for approval. The board's input at the first meeting where we discussed this was to have an easement along the Hagedorn Road frontage as well. So the easement that we are drafting would not only include this route here, but it would also include whatever land we need just to the east of the right-of-way of Hagedorn Road to construct a pathway along Hagedorn Road as well. We still need to discuss that with the property owner. We haven't broached that subject just yet, but we will do that this week. And if all goes well and the board wants to proceed, we would bring this back at your December 2nd meeting. The other piece of news, since this was last before the board, is that the Phase 2 ESA came back. They did take soil samples and everything was clean. So no contamination was detected. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have this evening.
Does the property owner in question own the parcel that appears to be sort of cut around there? the numbers 442 are sitting in the middle of it. Oh, you changed pages on me.
Yeah, it just does not want to.
There's
That's right.
the two with the circles in the middle of the area I'm talking about. Do they own that middle gap parcel too?
Correct. There's two parcels located there, and they own both of them.
Okay.
What we currently anticipate that they would likely do is they would combine all four eventually. Right now, they're going to keep it split as four parcels is their intention. So they would have this triangle parcel here, the two that are not shown here in the gap, and then this parcel, all split, but we're hearing that they long-term intend to combine those four.
Got it.
And possibly sell to a developer, most likely kind of missing middle housing, townhomes, something of that nature.
Okay. Got it. So any discussion of the easements over on Hagedorn would include that area as well. Terrific.
Yeah. So if a development were proposed as a conditional approval of the development, they would have to grant us an easement for the pathway, and they would have to construct the pathway
Yeah.
at their cost.
Okay. Yeah, then this seems like a relatively easy, issue for me. We're not ever going to really do anything with this parcel except to build a pathway through it or possibly use it, I guess the drain commissioner uses it for, the drain of, I can't remember which drain it was. but- Heron Creek, thank you, goes through there, so. Yeah, I think this is an excellent opportunity to connect a pathway across there in the long, long range. And we've set ourselves up well. And, no developer's gonna touch the parcels that we're taking anyway, so I don't see why not. Other board members? Trustee Lentz?
Only question I had is with this level 2 environmental assessment being done in that long, long future, when we're talking about maybe building a pathway, will future environmental reviews need to be done of any kind? I guess I'm asking, is there anything we can do now to knock out the need for that in the future, or does this, because it came back as a clean bill of health, make that not necessary in the future? Does that question make sense?
For the land that the developer would, or that the property owner would retain, or for the land that we would be acquiring?
I'm sorry, for what they would retain for future building.
I'm not 100% certain. It may depend on what they propose to build and where they propose to build it.
Okay.
They would likely demo the house on the southern parcel, 4344. But I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay, I was just curious if this obviously is not a standard procedure for, land acquisition and development, but
I don't think there would be a requirement, but ordinarily they would do it as due diligence, right? So whoever the developer is that might be looking at acquiring the property in the future, they would normally do their own due diligence, just to make sure that they're aware of all the costs that would be incurred. But I don't think as a matter of township approvals that they would need to do a phase 2.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Trezise?
Are we looking at this is a donation, is it going to the township or to the land preserve, or has that decision been made?
So land preservation is interested in the parcel, or the parcels. The reason why we're acquiring it as pathway property is that the property owner wishes to donate the land by the end of the current calendar year due to changes in tax law at the federal level. The only way to get this done by the end of the year was to do it as a pathway acquisition. Long-term, we can then, if we acquire it, we're at our own leisure to talk about its long-term prospects and what we do with it. It could be turned over to the Land Preservation Program. It could be donated to the Drain Commissioner's office, given the location and proximity to the Heron Creek, or it could remain a pathway parcel. It would probably be preferable that we do one of the two former options, land preservation or a donation to the Drain Commissioner, so that the pathway system doesn't have this much acreage to manage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and I just wanted to make sure that we had those options when we take it over now, rather than making the commitment now.
Yep, and we know from talking to the Parks Department and our stewardship staff that they are very interested in the property from a stewardship perspective. But it was going to be problematic to go through the Land Preservation Advisory Board for a recommendation, then on to the Township Board. We never would have met the December 31st deadline.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Wilson.
What portion of this donated property is wetlands? Either
Almost
state-
all of it.
Almost all of it, that's what I thought. Is the parcel immediately south of parcel E, is that where the stone house is? Where the marijuana facility was going to go in?
Yep, correct.
And is that project still potential, or has that died?
We're hearing that that project is dead.
Okay, thank
So
you.
property owners pursuing other opportunities now.
Okay,
They're kind of taking a fresh look at the entirety of the property.
got it.
So, Clerk Demas, pardon me. Sorry.
I just had a quick question. So one of the options was to donate the land to the Ingham County Drain Commissioner's office. Is there a reason why it would be considered donating to the township first before proceeding with that, if that's what we were considering? I just want to understand the process, I guess.
So we wanted it for the trail route. Even if we did wish at a future date to donate to the Drain Commissioner's office, we would want to make sure we get our land, and we have our land secured for the trail. Then we could parcel off the remainder and give it to the drain office so that we own our own land in question. But the drain does serve as stormwater management today. There's an open ditch that basically runs through the entirety of the land that we would be acquiring. The Heron Creek actually runs right on this property line. So during any flood event where the ditch will overflow into the wetland area, there is stormwater detention on the site.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.
Board members, if there's no disagreement, we'll go ahead and have the property owners go forward with the process of applying for the splits. And then we'll see this back in December.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 12, comments from the public. Any members of the public wishing to make comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on. Public comment is closed at 7:01 PM. Next on our agenda is item 13, other matters and board member comments. Any other matters before the board this evening? Seeing none, item 14 is for adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been moved by trustee Wilson. Supported by trustee Lentz. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We stand adjourned at 7:02 PM.